chapter 1. Dealing with chapter 1, it goes back to when Daniel and the Hebrew boys first got captured. It started back from Jeremiah. When Jeremiah told them what was going to happen if the king did not serve, just go ahead and turn the stuff over to the Babylonians. He said God would deliver him, but they didn't want to listen. And so because they didn't listen, he let them know what was going to happen. And you see, if y'all read the Bible, what happened. I'm not going to go all in all of it. I want to get in this one. This is a lot right here. But anyway, what I like about here, starting from chapter 1, when they were captured, they were 16 years old. 16 years old. I'm talking about Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys. And if you read it, chapter 1, and it says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehovah, king of, I'm not pronouncing his name right, Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand. Listen what he says. The Lord did that. The Lord gave it to him in his hand, right? With part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land, right? Now the king spoke, I'm down to 3, unto Ashburn, the master of the eunuch. I underline the eunuchs because that's what Daniel and them wind up being. The eunuchs. That's what Daniel and the Hebrew boys. That he should bring certain of the children of Israel, which was Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys. Certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish. Now look at this. No blemish, right? Hold up. What is it for us? We can't have no spot, no blemish, can we? Holiness for a purpose. That's for us too. Even though this lesson right here is what it's saying about the Hebrew boys, it's talking about us too. We can't have no spot, no blemish. God gave us, well, let me finish, but well favored. Okay, the children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge and understanding, science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace. Now, God put all that in us, didn't he? And some of us, did he not? We don't have wisdom. We don't have knowledge. I don't know about y'all. Okay. I'll leave that alone. Okay. Okay. And whom they might teach and learn the tongue of the Chaldeans. Now, we might not be teaching the tongues of the Chaldeans, but we're teaching and learning the tongues of the Gentiles. We're teaching the Gentiles, ain't we? Because that's who we are, right? And We're teaching them God's word, are we not? We're teaching them the way God say how to do this walk, are we not? He's given us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding on how to do this. Is he not? Okay. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat. Now here's where, okay, and the wine which he drinks. Now here's where you come in and you say, will I or will I not? The king giving them the meat and the wine. So, will you bow down to that? Will you accept that? Let's go back to here. He gave them the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And it's for them. Okay? He didn't accept the meat nor the drink. Okay? So, somewhere along the line, God showed Daniel something for Daniel to turn that down. Somewhere along the line, God showed him something. He just didn't take it upon himself to do that just like that. He didn't know what was in the meat. He didn't know what was in the drink. God had to show him something. So nourishing them that 3 years, that at the end, therefore, they might stand before the king. Now, among these were the children of Judah. Okay, they even changed their names. Wow. They changed their name. You got to eat their food. You got to drink their drinks. So what you got left? You don't got nothing left. Unto whom the prince of the Enochs gave names. Okay, they changed his name. Now here's number 8. But Daniel purposed in his heart. Daniel purposed in his heart. That's why I had to come back to chapter 1 to get the story to come to chapter 3. Daniel purposed in his heart. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. That's like, but somewhere in our life, we should know that the God we serve, we should not bow down to nothing, no matter what they put before us. No matter what it is. We should not bend no break for the God that we serve. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. God gave him the wisdom on what to do. Now God gave him favor. He gave him favor. And that was a blessing. He kind of reminded you of Joseph. He gave him favor. So that helped him to go through. Okay, now. Holiness. The Hebrew word used to translate holy has a much wider meaning than the English word holy. To most English-speaking people, holiness usually show some moral, such as sinlessness or purity. To the Hebrews, the word indicates the state of condition of a person separated from the common faith, affairs of life, and concentrate wholly to God. Holiness. Is that what we're supposed to be? Striving to for a purpose? Holiness for a purpose. We got a purpose. We're not there yet, but we got a purpose. Our purpose is to see what the end is, right? Our purpose is to see Jesus, right? But we got to be holy because he's holy. So we got to be holy. We can't come no any kind of way. He told us that. So here, right here in the book, and the strangest thing about it, even dealing with the lesson and how the king, and the king, when he was dealing with, he didn't understand, he had a dream. He had a dream. And he couldn't get the dream. And all the people that he had couldn't tell the dream. They couldn't tell the dream. But Daniel could tell the dream. So, going back to one, God gave them all this wisdom, right? He got four of them. But Daniel was the one with the dream, right? So, going back to chapter 1 with the wisdom, Daniel could tell the dream. And he told the dream. All his peoples couldn't tell the dream. All the king's peoples. Matter of fact, he was going to kill them. He was going to kill them all. Daniel asked why was he going, what was wrong with the king? And thank the Lord that he asked him what was wrong with the king so he could find out. And so he told him, well, let him, in so many words, sleep on it. And he'd be able to come back and tell him about the dream. So he let him sleep on it. He come back. He tell him about the dream, right? So he tells him what the dream is, right? So after he tells him what the dream is, Nebuchadnezzar bows down to him. And he tells him about Daniel's God. Now, what really blew my mind was there's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego right there with him. But yet, when Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego got in trouble, it seemed like the king forgot about them. But it did say that the king had kind of got unhinged. He was just going off his mind to build that gigantic statue. He really was going cool. But that's what happens when you got a lot of money, ain't it? You just do anything. You just do anything. You just don't know what to do with yourself. You just do all kinds of crazy things. You don't know what to do with yourself. It's like you forgot about your God. You forgot about the God that you told Daniel. He's yeah, that God is the God. Everybody remember that God now. That is the God. But you forgot about that God. So, okay, you build this big, gigantic, humongous monster. Now you want them to bow down to the monster. Ugly monster. You want them to bow down to. Then you got, in my Bible, it says heroes, God's heroes. I don't know if it's written in y'all Bibles, but there's quite a few of my Bibles that says heroes. They call Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego heroes because they didn't bow down. And the snitch, the Chaldeans, I call them snitch. And they ran and told. They ran and told because they didn't bow down. I guess they were trying to get brownie points. So they ran and told that they didn't bow down. But how do you forget? But then they said he was going off the hinges. So, because I'm trying to figure out, how do you forget just that quick that they were just with Daniel, and they were with Daniel's God, and now you're putting them in the fiery furnace. But even though you asked them, and they told you, no, I'm not going to bow down. I'm not going to bow down. And they didn't bow down. That's what I mean about us. Because, see, I look at this holiness for a purpose, salvation. This is salvation. This is about salvation. What are you going to do when someone comes to you and dealing with your salvation? Are you going to bow down? Are you going to give in? Did God do enough for you? Did he do enough for you? For you to say, for God I live, and for God I die. And this is where the Hebrews say, even if he don't do it, I know he can do it. And that's what you got to make up your mind. Even if he don't do it, I know he can do it. Because he done something before. And I know it was him. Nobody else could do it. But you got to have that kind of testimony. That's why I called it salvation. That's what I look at, that lesson. Salvation. The Hebrew boys, they wouldn't give up. Oh, okay, no, go ahead.
When he was talking about holiness for a purpose, but look what God had allowed to happen. See, God already knew the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew that those Hebrew boys was going to stand.
Mm-hmm.
Hallelujah. But it wasn't just all about him. God had to let the king know, too. That's what he was.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let him know he was king of all kings. That's all right. You know, hallelujah. Going to left and begin to dig. I was like, oh, okay. I said, Lord, well, you had a purpose. But it's just like with us over here now. We might have to suffer. But God is telling us now, I want you to be holy, and I want you to stand. Because so many people in holiness is taken down. But God said, I want you to stand. And I just want to say, I was confronted with a situation, a backslider. And she said, well, I'm kind of confused, because people in holiness is not really, some people is not standing.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, when you out there, and they know who's standing, who you got.
Right.
And that's why hallelujah. A double life.
Right.
Why it's so important to live holy.
Right.
For a purpose.
Right.
God has a purpose for us.
Right.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to get you, but I want to tag on that.
Okay.
But even as I was reading, if you read the whole book, he still, Nebuchadnezzar, didn't get it. And that's why I say salvation, because you have people, and this is what God kept giving me. Plan it. You do your planning. You let that other one do the watering.